right, well, welcome to the Sports Guys, another edition of Weekend Update, coming after another amazing weekend of sports. It's just action-packed every weekend. It's unbelievable. The college, the NFL, the baseball playoffs, it just never ends. And also wanted to call out to all you guys for all the incredible love we've been getting on the Strange Sports episode we did on Thursday. It's been so cool to see all the comments coming in, and even my dad's really into it. And so we're really excited to make a part 2 of that one. But anyway, how you doing, Robbie?
Oh, doing great. Really good. Had today off, hung out with the boys. We had a blast.
That's awesome. So I want to introduce a special guest, Mr. Henry Peralta from Blue Monday. How you doing, man?
Hello. How's you guys doing? I'm doing well.
Really glad you could join. I've been wanting you to join Sports Guys for a long time. You did join one time when you came on with Lizette, and we had a fantastic episode.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me.
One of our most watched episodes with you and Lizette, and people got to know you. And then, of course, now you spun off a really great episode, or a really great podcast yourself, which is Henry's Rock Review. So if anybody wants to check out a really great rock review channel, check out Henry's Rock Review. I'll put the link in the comments down below, and you can check it out.
Thank you.
I do that with Henry, and he does such a great job reviewing amazing rock albums from the past. So it's pretty cool.
And he's hitting nonstop home runs on the selections of the albums.
Yeah.
So Henry, tell us a little bit about yourself from people who haven't seen you before.
Well, I was born in Charlotte. I play in a band called Blue Monday. Been doing that for like about 10 years. I'm a musician, obviously, a singer. I play guitar, play bass. My favorite passion is football. I love the NFL. The NFL is the one that I like. And of course, if you can see my hat, I'm a big Raiders fan, even though my poor Raiders are just not doing well this year. And I had high hopes.
Well, my Panthers too. Like my Panthers. Same thing.
I'm not bringing up my Dolphins.
Man, how can the three of us like three teams that are so bad?
I know. All three of us have to beat L's and everything like that.
We need to make friends with a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and we'll have it all covered.
Oh, my God.
Tell us how you became a Raiders fan. That's an interesting story.
So I think I was 5 years old or something. My brother C was watching the game, and I walk in. I'm like, "Who's that?" He goes, "It's the Raiders. They're playing." I think it's funny. They were playing the Jets. I can almost remember they were playing the Jets, and I remember like these ginormous men in silver and black just tearing up the team. It's like, "Oh, I like that team. I'm going to follow them."
Was it like Alzado, or who was it?
I think it was Alzado. I think it was. John Matuzak and Alzado, all them, those monsters. And I loved it because remember back then when they could hit you, they could hit you. It's not like the way it is now where they flag you if you barely push them. Back then they went to tear your head off.
Oh, those guys were tough, man.
Oh my God. And for some reason they looked so much bigger back then. I don't know if you guys noticed that. They just look so much bigger.
That's true.
What was the steroids?
Yeah.
Did you hear the story? Did you hear the story about Alzado and those guys? Were going to the Super Bowl and they were stuck about a mile out, and they just jumped out of their car, abandoned their car, and
because they would, they wouldn't let him in. And one of I think Howie Long said, "We still think the car's still running."
Yeah.
Dude, going to the Super Bowl.
That just wouldn't happen today, man. Today you got police escorts, maybe even a helicopter.
You get the military bringing you in the stadiums now, but can you imagine that? You're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, you can't get in. What are you talking about? And
was that Kenny Stabler back then?
No, it was Marcus Allen, I think Howie Long, Lyle Alzado, and I think somebody else. Right? Am I correct? Or am I wrong on that one?
Who's the quarterback?
I think it was Stabler at quarterback. I think that was
it was Jim Plunkett.
Oh, Jim Plunkett.
Plunkett, you're right. It was Plunkett. It was Plunkett.
Yeah, because that's when they played Washington, and they. I can't say what they did.
I don't want to talk about that game. I don't want to talk about that. So I still have nightmares about that game.
Dude,
we grew up Washington. We got absolutely manhandled there.
Yeah, you did.
Marcus Allen just tore us up.
I mean, I remember Joe Thosman said we came in there with a silver platter, and the Raiders took it from us and they gave it back to us destroyed.
That game was brutal. Howie Long was brutal in that game.
Oh, they were. So that's how I became
that's cool.
NFL fan. But I like watching all these teams. I am a fan of the Ravens, Detroit, and the players, certain players. I mean, I really enjoy watching. So football Sunday to me is big. That's just the day where I actually just want to sit around, eat junk food, and just watch the games. All of it.
And you're married to a Giants fan, so that's
yes, I'm married to a Giants fan.
Yeah.
She loves the Giants, and so we've gone to a couple of games at the Panthers stadium, stuff like that. I mean, I even went to the game right before the Panthers went to the Super Bowl, which that was the most electric audience I think I've ever just been involved. It was amazing. Like, we never sat down, and it's so sad that they lost. I mean, you were there. It was just heartbreaking. Yeah. Because I remember always saying, man, I always want to go to a championship game. And then a school friend of mine that I've known for decades, a sweet, beautiful soul, her name is Lisa. She was like, hey, I got an extra ticket. Do you want to go? I was like, you know it. So we went, and we had the absolute most amazing time. I even got my face painted for that championship game.
Super cool.
It was great. I had a great time.
Wow, so, that's awesome. Man, Jim Plunkett. I forgot about Jim Plunkett. He was Stanford, I think.
Yeah. He won 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders. I remember he was a quarterback when they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And then he was a quarterback when obviously they beat Washington. Great quarter. I mean, he was a great quarterback. It wasn't anything flashy, but he was actually just good.
Because pretty much when you think of Stanford, you think of Jim Plunkett, you think of John Elway.
Yeah. Andrew Luck?
Yeah, Andrew Luck. Those 3 guys from Stanford. That's who I think about. Andrew Luck. Well, let's go take a look at the weekend games, and we'll make some comments. Let's go look at the NFL. All right, the big headlines coming out of the NFL. Ravens and Washington Commanders put on a show in Week 6. You see the picture there of Lamar and Jaden. The next one was Detroit Lions destroy the Cowboys. That was 47-9, but they lose Aiden Hutchinson. And Henry, you were talking about that injury.
Oh.
Rob watched it. I couldn't watch it. Apparently his leg hit multiple players.
It just didn't look real.
It went in different ways.
It wrapped around the other guy's leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk a little bit later about some of the rumors that they've been talking about, but essentially they need to go get a pass rusher now. And I was proposing to Henry, maybe they go get his guy on the Raiders.
Yeah, no.
The first and second round pick, Max Crosby. But, the reason being because Detroit has their window open right now. And if they can't get pressure on the quarterback, they're not going to win, obviously.
I would definitely, if they could get him, as much as I'm a big Raiders fan, I don't want to lose him, but the Raiders ain't going to go nowhere this year. Max Crosby, come on, man. He can only play at 100% for so many years. You got a chance. If Detroit says, hey, we want you, we'll give up picks and whatever.
We'll give you Raiders a 1 and a 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
For Max Crosby.
Max Crosby, go there and go win a championship with the Detroit.
The problem for the Lions is they don't have a lot of cap room. So bringing in a veteran's not that easy.
Yeah.
Now the Commanders have a lot of room. So I think the Commanders could go beef up their defense.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I'm not talking about Crosby. There's a bunch of options, but Hassan Reddick and all these guys, there's a lot of potential options out there.
So another headline, Bucks win 1 for Tampa. Really emotional press conference after that game. They scored 51 points, blew their rival Saints off the field. And Baker had 3 interceptions, but he had just a monster game otherwise.
He did. It was crazy.
He said they really felt like in the locker room they needed to win this one for Tampa because they're hurting so bad after that bad hurricane that came in.
Yeah.
And they had some extra juice because of that. I really believe that.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see. Then we have Jordan Love shines and Drake May debuts with the Patriots. So some other headlines. Any of these hit you guys?
Dude, all those games were phenomenal. Like, I watched the Ravens and Washington Commanders game, and that was a great game. The Detroit Lions game, I didn't watch, but I was watching the headlines, man, and that Aiden Hutchinson, oh my gosh, that is just horrible. But man, did they not destroy them Cowboys?
They destroyed them.
47-9.
You know what Rex Ryan said? He said Detroit won the game big today, but they lost the Super Bowl today.
Oh,
because of Aiden. Yeah.
Because they're so reliant on his pressure.
You know what?
He's leading the league in sacks, and he puts so much pressure on a defense that it throws off their offensive.
He's
timing.
the one guy they couldn't lose. He really was. He's
That's
the one guy they couldn't lose on defense. Yeah, we'll see. It's next man up though, right, Henry? Next
I
man
mean,
up.
I'm gonna tell you what. That's the thing that I liked about Belichick. He always would say this: "Next man up," and every time he brought the next man up, they showed up and they showed out. I mean, it has to be like that, right? Everybody has a job. You got to be as good as
Belichick's
the number
teams,
one.
Belichick teams didn't have very many stars, but they had a
No,
lot of depth,
there are a lot of
and
great
that's
players.
nice. I think the Lions are decently deep, but not necessarily at that position.
I don't know.
But
I'm
I
not
don't.
discounting the Lions, even without Hutchison. I'm not discounting the Lions. They're so well
They have a
built.
great roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got a great coach. I mean, that guy, he's a great coach, man.
Yeah,
I do like him.
they're not out of it by any stretch.
No.
They have an
Let's talk about-
incredible running tandem. I love their running backs.
Let's talk about, are the Ravens back in the driver's seat in the AFC? And of course, they're 4-2, and the Chiefs are 6-0. But Ravens' victory catapults them to Super Bowl favorites. And it was really interesting, Robbie. Lamar said he needs to get Jaden Daniels' jersey. Sky's the limit for the QB. So there's all this respect between these two guys.
That's a great
Yeah.
compliment.
I think he sees a lot. I think he sees a lot in Jaden as a rookie that was him like 5 years ago, kind of thing.
But I think he thinks Jaden's a better thrower than he was.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So are they in the driver's seat? Is it still the Chiefs? Obviously, the Chiefs have the defense and the Ravens have the offense, right? So what are your thoughts?
I think the Ravens are getting some steam. I still don't see them going to the Super Bowl yet. Remember, in the postseason, that's when everybody gets better, right? That's when everybody starts playing tougher, right? When they go in there in the playoffs. Kansas City, as we can see, I mean, their defense is better this year than it's ever been. Because normally it's more for their offense, right? But now, if you look at it, their defense is really, really, really good. And what's the old cliche? Defense wins championships, right?
Well, Henry, I don't know if you saw our weekend update last Monday, but the Chiefs are ranked number 1 in defense, and the Ravens are ranked number 1 in offense.
Right.
In the statistics. So
okay, well, look at what happened like in some Super Bowls when you got the number 1 ranked defense versus the number 1 ranked offense. Usually the defense won that game. In those games.
Like the Panthers Super Bowl when the Broncos took them apart with the pass rush.
Right. I mean, they did. They just
Yeah.
I mean, they did. I mean, even my Raiders losing against Tampa Bay, they knew the plays pretty much. They never changed the play. So guess what? They knew what Rich Gannon was going to do. What was it? 3 pick sixes in that Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? That's just horrendous. So, and by the way, do you remember when the Ravens went to that championship, their first championship Super Bowl win? What won them all those games? It was the defense. Ray Lewis's famous comment was said this: as long as we score 3 points, we win the game.
All right, so let's talk about this. So quarterback, I give Mahomes a slight edge just because he's so clutch.
Yeah,
He's just so clutch.
Yeah.
I give him a slight, but Lamar is playing probably the best football of his career right now.
Yes,
Okay,
he is.
so
He looks more confident.
Coach, I give to Andy Reid slightly, although John Harbaugh is a good coach. I
No
give
question.
Andy Reid slightly. Defense, clearly Kansas City is the better defense.
Yeah.
Offense, generally, I give it to the Ravens, and I think the Ravens have added Derrick Henry, who's playing like the best back in football right now.
They're finally using him.
Unstoppable, right? Yeah, finally using him. So I don't know. I think that you give them that little special sauce of Derrick Henry. If that Ravens defense can just tighten up a little bit, I think they may be in the driver's seat. I think that Kansas City is just so limited offensively right now.
I mean, I see the Ravens going to the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. It's just they got to get over that one hump. I mean, no different than when Kansas City was playing the Patriots. Mahomes just couldn't get over Brady. And honestly, Mahomes has never gotten over Brady because.
And I'm not discounting the fact that the Chiefs are 6-0. I understand that. I'm just saying I give the Ravens about a 1% edge here, but it's tough for me to say that because I will never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
No, I mean, it's like saying never bet against Brady and them. Like my best friends just tell me every time you say you want the Patriots to lose, they win. So stop saying it.
Who do you think's in the driver's seat, Robbie?
I think the Ravens are. I think the Ravens are. I'll tell you why. A couple things. Adding Henry, they are averaging 150 yards more per game than their opponents on average on the ground and rushing. So they're crushing their opponents on the ground. They're handling the ball. They're not having to throw into that secondary and pass rush. That is the strength of the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs have some stout defensive tackles, but I still think that the Ravens are going to be able to run on them. And so if they can run on them, they can actually they're decent on defense. They're not as intimidating as the past, but look at what the Commanders have done going into this last game. Daniels leads the NFL on third down. They're the first team to score 150 points with a rookie quarterback. Washington has 8 punts through 5 games. That's the lowest in the Super Bowl era. And they run the no huddle a lot, and they keep defenses off balance. And the Ravens defense was able to handle it. And so that's pretty impressive stuff.
Actually, that's a very good point, because Jaden Daniels the last 4 weeks had been absolutely tearing up defenses.
Tearing it up. He had 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 yards rushing. So they bottled up his running. And
so he had a good game, not a bad game.
He had a 74.2 QBR, which is really good, but not otherworldly. Like, he kind of came down to earth against this defense, and he definitely looked good. Like, they were a playoff team. Washington looks like a playoff team. But the Ravens defense was good enough to tell me that the Ravens offense is going to be able to run down most defenses, pound them, and then the Ravens D will hold. They're not going to get into huge scoring matches. So
I don't know. I still, the one thing I'll mention is Kansas City. The AFC is going to run through Kansas City. I believe that the Ravens are going to end up having to go there if they play in the AFC Championship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what time of possession was for the Ravens? 36.08 versus 23.52.
Wow.
It's a huge time difference. It's because they're just pounding the ball. That's keeping their defense as fresh as possible, wearing down your defense, breaking your will slowly over the course of a game. I think my thing is, though, I don't know that I trust Harbaugh to get into a big game and not try and throw every down like he did last year.
I completely agree. That's my problem.
Hopefully he learned his lesson. That was terrible.
I don't know if he did or not. We'll see. If he didn't learn his lesson, the Chiefs are going to win again. But if Derrick Henry left, here's Derrick Henry right, here's Derrick Henry up the middle, and then occasionally they have Zay Flowers, who's playing out of his mind, and Andrews is coming alive, and then they have that other tight end. So they have really nice tight ends. Tight ends are a huge mismatch.
You know who the other tight end is? It's that guy Likely, who's really good.
Likely. He's a really good player. And Andrews, they're both getting really involved in the game plan. And then, by the way, when all that's covered, Lamar Jackson going to scamper out of there, and he just becomes your worst nightmare. So,
I think the reason he respects Jaden and vice versa, I do think he sees a lot of him in him. I think that they're similar players.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Commanders are the first team to get 9 fourth downs.
Oh, wow.
In a row. 9 straight.
I remember reading that.
9. That's a lot.
So all of us can agree that we think the Ravens are maybe a 1% edge over Kansas City right now, but could easily slip back behind Kansas City because coaching. I think Reed is better.
That's the biggest difference.
Quarterback.
Is that I trust Reed more than I trust Harbaugh.
Mahomes may be the best quarterback of all time. Maybe. We'll see about 5-10 years. And Lamar's good, but he's never been able to get over that hump. But the Ravens right now have better weapons and they have a better running game. And so I don't know. I think these two teams are probably going to be in the AFC Championship game. That's what I'm saying.
And the strength of the defense for the Chiefs, because it's considered a very good defense, is not against the run, it's against the pass.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
They can exploit some weaknesses of the Chiefs.
That's right.
Rushing.
I mean, what the Ravens need to do is what Peyton Manning did to the Bears in the Super Bowl. What were the Bears known for? running for taking care of the pass, right? What did the Colts do to the Bears at the Super Bowl? They ran the ball.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning literally put his pride aside and goes, you know what? We're going to run the ball.
Although Kansas City, brings in Kareem Hunt, who's their third back, and he's been incredibly efficient the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
They can run the ball too.
Kansas City's shored up their running game problem, but anyway, I think the Ravens have the advantage as long as Reed doesn't wildly outcoach Harbaugh.
So this is a interesting topic for me because I have hated the Cowboys since I was about 4 years old with a red hot passion.
Hey, but at least their cheerleaders are great, right?
Because
Hey,
I love
our
the cheerleaders.
Cowboy viewers out there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we love you guys. We just don't like the Cowboys,
Yeah.
and we don't like the Yankees either, by the way. And but we.
And by the way, there's room on the Dolphins bandwagon if any of these Cowboy fans want to jump off.
Dude,
There's plenty of room.
There's a lot of room on the Raiders bandwagon too.
hey, easy. Hey, did you see Stephen A. make a video laughing at the Cowboys losing?
Oh, he loves it. He hates
He really hates them.
He does.
I was like, oh my
He does. And you know what he goes, how about them Cowboys?
Oh my God, terrible.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
he
but let me
enjoys
just say the reason that I despise them is the reason they hate us because we grew up Redskin fans.
Oh, of
And
course.
the Dallas-Washington rivalry has always been, in my opinion, the best rivalry. And so to watch the collapse of this program the last couple of years, and especially this year when they're being picked to win 12 games, which I never believed, by the way.
I predicted this.
and so they have their worst loss since Jerry Jones bought the team in 1989, and it happened on his birthday, and it happened in Texas Stadium.
Tom, do you remember my hot takes on Dallas a number of podcasts ago?
Yes, I do.
Our pre NFL, I said that the Cowboys were not going to make the playoffs.
You did.
And Jerry Jones is going to sell the team within 2 years.
Yep. And he's going to end up firing McCarthy in the offseason, and they're going to have major changes, I think. What was interesting, Henry, is, and we talked about this, Dallas did nothing in the offseason. And Jerry kept claiming that they were all in. They were actually offered Derrick Henry by Derrick Henry's agent. So he would have gone there instead of Baltimore.
But they couldn't afford it because they hadn't signed Dak yet. So
they hadn't signed Dak yet, and they still have to sign Micah Parsons. Yeah. And so they said, we can't afford him. So because of all the bad contracts they've decided in the past, including Dak, $60 million a year, they can't afford Derrick Henry, and so they have no running game this year.
I bet Derrick Henry was like, thank God.
Thank God. But imagine how much better they would be if they at least had Derrick Henry.
Yeah, they would be much better.
Yeah. If you look at these scores here on this page, 3 teams beat them by over 40 points.
They've lost four straight at home.
Over 40 points on
them. So they win 16 straight games at home, and then they lose 4 straight and have completely collapsed. And apparently the Dallas Sports Radio has just been absolutely brutal this past 2 weeks. You can imagine what it was like. So the question to both of you, and I'll start with Henry, does Dallas need to blow it up and rebuild? Blow it up means get rid of the coach, get rid of some of the bad contracts.
I honestly don't think it's the coach. I think it's just.
So what do you do? I mean, if you're the GM.
I mean, obviously they're going to get rid of the coach. They're going to be blamed from the top right there. He's going to be the top. So
whether they should get rid of the coach, they're going to get rid of the coach. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, they have to fire Jerry Jones as the general manager.
Yeah, he's got to fire himself.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, they're definitely going to get rid of the coach. I wouldn't be surprised.
Rob talks about how Jerry Jones is a good owner but a terrible GM.
Yes,
he's a good owner. He's a good owner. I'll tell you what. He's one of the most loyal owners to his coaches. He was loyal to Jason Garrett. He's been loyal. He's been loyal to a number of his coaches.
Well, except for one, Jimmy Johnson.
He wasn't loyal to Jimmy Johnson.
That was the biggest mistake ever.
His lesson. He learned his lesson with Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. So they're definitely going to get rid of the coach. I think either by the end of the year, at the end of the season, or probably, I'm going to tell you, if it continues to go really bad, maybe if they lose this next game, they'll get rid of him.
But what's interesting is they get so far behind this year in almost every game that they end up putting all this pressure on Dak. He ends up throwing all kinds of picks, 2 or 3 picks a game. because he's under so much pressure to try to bail them out. And then their defense, I've never seen a Dallas defense this bad. It's just pathetic. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass.
Maybe the players.
Just as an objective observer, they have more problems on the defense than they do the offense. And the offense, they barely have any weapons.
I don't know. The offense was bad, Tom. Prescott had 178 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 11.4 QBR. He would have been better spiking the ball every play. He fumbled twice. They had 4 turnovers. Time of possession was 34-25 for Dallas. That's significant difference. It was just an absolute shellacking, you know?
Yeah. For better words, yeah.
So what do you tell your team? What do you tell your team in the locker room after a loss like this? I just wonder what that speech is like.
Whew.
Are you speechless? Are you just, it's not even worth talking about, and I'll see you at practice on Monday? Or
there's too many problems to fix. You need to start changing the personnel, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe give him a good cussing out.
I'm not sure. And I'm not sure McCarthy's going to make it to the end of the season. I thought he was.
I don't think so
After
either.
this,
I'm telling you, man.
You know what, though? I'm completely against firing in the middle of the season.
Me too.
I think, So what
Rob,
happens is
you fire
the coach in the middle of the season, and then what happens is the most popular coordinator, usually the offensive, but sometimes the defense coordinator, comes up and he's the interim coach. And now you have these guys fighting for their jobs and fighting for the new guy, and they usually play a little above their abilities, and they usually get the guy some wins. So now you're in a bad position because you have this interim coach that you don't really want, but you wanted him to carry you to the end of the year, and now everyone's screaming to keep the guy and give him the job, and you can't go out and start fresh and get your guy. And if you do that, like Nathaniel Hackett for the Panthers, you create a lot of bad will with the fans. And
no, but what if you've been having conversations with Bill Belichick the last 4 weeks, and he's the heir apparent anyway, so might as well bring him in early. And
dude, do you really think Belichick is going to go to the Cowboys?
I think this is one of the jobs he'd be interested in. Absolutely.
You think so?
The only way I fire my coach mid-season now is if you have the replacement ready to go.
Yeah, you bring in Bill Belichick.
Well, wait a minute. Well, look what the Jets did.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do what they did.
You usually should. And if you had asked me a week ago, I would have said, yes, McCarthy's going to get fired at the end of the year because they're not going to be good this year. But Jerry's not a firer in the middle of the season. But after this loss, this bad,
it might.
He might do it because he's got to keep Texas Stadium full, and he's got to stop the bags on the heads. And that you're going to start seeing bags on the heads. That's how bad they're losing right now. He's got to stop that.
I still wouldn't. He has to look in the mirror and see the squad that he built as the general manager.
All right. So the answer, Henry, is: do they need to blow it up and rebuild, or can they fire the coach and use what they have?
Probably a little bit of both.
Okay, Rob.
I'm blowing it up. This has very little to do with the coach itself.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's the coach. I mean, like I'm going to tell you, the players don't even look. They just don't even look like they're trying like they were before. You know what I'm saying?
How could they do nothing in the offseason and say that they were all in? I just didn't get that. Like they
got rid of their expensive veteran linemen and got rookies. They have the worst running back room in football, and they only have CeeDee Lamb as a wide receiver.
Rob, Tony Pollard from the Titans.
Their defense was small last year and got pushed around dramatically, and they didn't touch it. So
Tony Pollard of the Titans, who's their old running back, has more yards than their 4 running backs put together.
Yeah,
and that includes Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pathetic. Anyway, we'll see what they do. It'll be really interesting to watch. All right,
hottest seed in the NFL. They're worse in almost every area.
Hottest seed in the NFL. You guys have to choose one. McCarthy, obviously very hot. Eberflus, if you had asked me 4 weeks ago when they were 0-2, I'd say his seat was very hot. He almost got fired last year. They've now won 4 straight, and they're 4-2. I think he might have saved his job, at least temporarily. Peterson with Jacksonville, I think, is a dead man walking. I'm not sure he's going to make it to the end of the season. They've just been horrific, and they're not trending in the right direction. Kyle Shanahan, he'll clearly make it to the end of the year, but if he keeps not winning Super Bowls when they've had this mega Super Bowl all-star team year after year after year, doesn't get it done, at some point the owner's going to get tired of that, I think. Then you've got Daboll in New York, not really working with very much. I think he's actually doing a decent job, but apparently
He's doing a good job.
Apparently, New York radio has been calling for his head too. So I don't know. Sirianni, I think he was almost fired in the offseason. Really, really close. They decided to give him an extra year. He came back, shaved his head, and said he was newly committed to the team. They don't look great this year. I mean, they barely beat the Browns. I don't know. I think he's dead man walking as well. And then your man, his first year with the Raiders. Question is, can he survive with a really bad team? Are they going to give him 2 or 3 years to try?
I think they'll give Antonio Pierce 1 more year.
You think?
Yep.
At least
1 more year.
He's brought in Marvin Lewis.
Next year, they'll give him more than 1.
He's brought in Marvin Lewis as kind of a mentor because he's a new coach. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
The two that I think are in the hottest seats are Peterson and Sirianni.
You do?
Yep.
Yeah. Peterson has probably the worst team in the NFL, or bottom 3. And Sirianni has a good team that's underachieving, and he's conducting himself in a way that is not conducive for a leader.
If you had asked me a week ago,
shouting match last week with the crowd yesterday, and he's underachieving. He's not getting along well with quarterback. Apparently, the coordinators don't let him in on things. He's allowed to be the head coach on Sundays. Like, he has no control of this team.
Yeah, he's really bad. He should have been fired from the offseason, like I said.
Yeah.
So I would have told you Peterson and Sirianni a week ago. I now believe it's McCarthy and Peterson. I think neither one of them is going to make it to the end of the season. I do think Sirianni will make it to the end of the year, and then he will be unceremoniously let go at that point. So I think at least 3 or 4 of these guys will be gone by the end of the year. But I think McCarthy and Peterson are likely not to make it to the end of the season. That's what I feel.
That's what I think too.
So guys, go ahead and pick your guy.
The only way he fires McCarthy is if he has Bill Belichick ready to go.
Ready to go, yeah. And I think that discussion's happening right now, probably on a tarmac somewhere.
Probably.
All right, I'm going to say McCarthy. That's my pick for hottest seat in the NFL. Dallas doesn't put up with 47-9 at home. Henry?
I got to agree with you. I mean, I'm going to tell you, man, that's just it was horrific.
Robbie?
It's got to be Peterson or Sirianni. I think the Eagles realize Sirianni's lost control of the team, doesn't have the authority. I see a lot of jokes on these sports channels that they roll The Office. I mean, not The Office. Is it Clerks or whatever? What exactly would you say you do here?
Right.
You remember that? What was that movie?
Yeah. I know what you're talking
about. Office Space. When they're interviewing HR is interviewing people, and they're like, "What exactly would you say you do here?" They're talking about Sirianni. He's not allowed in these position group meetings.
That's crazy. He's the head coach, and he's not allowed in.
He's the head coach, but they don't want him in with the running backs. They don't want him in with the linebackers.
It's such a disrespect to him. You know what I'm
saying?
I mean, this
and
guy
then yesterday he's yelling at the fans.
I know that doesn't work in Philadelphia. Yeah.
No, like it's not leadership. It's not setting an example. Like, if you're not setting an example, at least your X's and O's. Well, they don't let you in the meetings. Like, what are you doing?
If San Francisco loses first or second round in these playoffs, is Shanahan in trouble?
No.
You don't think so?
No, they've had tremendous injuries. Tremendous.
I think he's in trouble.
No.
I think they're Super Bowl or bust.
I think Daboll is not in trouble. I think Shanahan's not in trouble. I think Eberflus is working his way out of trouble. And I think McCarthy's going to get fired the day after the season's over. And I think
Peterson probably won't make it to the end of the year. Yeah. I don't think Peterson's make it to the end of the year. That's my feeling on it.
I agree.
Well, let's look at the scores from this week. We had the 49ers in Thursday Night Football take out the Seahawks. That was a great game, by the way.
Yeah, I watched that. That was
Did you watch that
phenomenal.
game?
Yeah, they were back and forth. I really thought the Seahawks were going to come back on the Niners.
It was really interesting because the 49ers come into that game 2-3, just desperate for a win, just had not played well this year at all the injuries. Seahawks sitting at 3-2 had been played pretty well, and 49ers just kind of set things right. It felt like Purdy played really well. All of his weapons got touchdowns and big catches.
Yeah.
Everyone just played really, really well in that game. Defense played a little bit better. Any thoughts on that game?
Like I said, I watched it, and I mean, it was going back and forth. I actually, for a moment, thought that the 49ers were going to lose, but then their defense tightened up, and then their offense tightened up, and they just ran away with it. Like they just took it away from the Seahawks.
Yeah, Purdy looked like last year. 3 touchdowns. He had a 90 QBR.
Yeah, no interceptions.
Yeah, no interceptions. He looked good.
Yeah.
I thought he looked particularly good. It probably his best game.
102 yards.
Yep, that's right. Ayuk had a huge catch. Kittle played well
Starting
again.
to come back healthy. If they get Christian McCaffrey back,
Mason running the ball pretty well.
Oh,
Offensive line played well.
Now, Ted, the thing that one of the plays there was the kicker making that block. You know, he hurt himself.
That's right.
So that was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad. So next game is Packers, Cardinals, and Cardinals were coming off a huge win off of the 49ers.
Yeah.
They're kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I never understand what Cardinal team you're going to get. One week they beat somebody, next week they look like the worst team in football. This week they got just torn apart by Jordan Love and the Packers.
Yeah, they did. They got destroyed.
And so what do you think? What's going on with the Cardinals? They're kind of schizophrenic.
They're always hit or miss. I mean, when they're good, but when they're bad, they're like, dang, dude.
Your thoughts, Robbie?
I think the Packers just manhandled them. The Packers,
or is it just good. The Packers are good? Maybe it's just the Packers are good.
I think the Packers look good that day. I mean, Love was on fire. 4 touchdowns, 27 first downs. Time of possession 36 and 35 versus 23, 25.
And by the way,
36 versus 23,
wow,
big difference.
That's awesome. And by the way, they're running the ball.
Threw all over them.
They're running the ball with Henry's old running back, Josh Jacobs.
Oh, don't.
Oh, Henry.
Put the knife in, father.
Well, maybe you become a Packer fan.
Temporarily.
Never. So
they were and their defense played well because they caused 3 fumbles.
That's right. Kyler Murray, I don't know. He's so talented. He's just kind of a head case. I don't know. I can't figure him out.
I like him more than I have in the past. But I think that Green Bay's defense looked more like what I expected them to, and they haven't looked like much of this year, but they're starting to look like a good defense again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next game, C.J. Stroud was just probably he might have been the best I've ever seen him because he was playing a pretty good defense and just tore them apart, 41-21. Actually, Drake May had 2 really nice touchdowns, played pretty well in his debut. I was pretty impressed with him. He didn't look flustered. He was kind of calm in the pocket, but he was just playing a juggernaut in the Texans.
You know what May's QBR was?
What?
31.1. So
yeah, not good.
He didn't look flustered, but he wasn't very effective either.
Yeah, he didn't look flustered in his first game. Not a good QBR, but
he held it together. But
got some touchdowns on the board, which was nice.
But he's not working with very much talent.
No, Patriots are terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
I wouldn't be playing May right now.
Texans are loaded on offense, have a good defense, and just tore them apart.
Yeah, they've been drafting nice defensive pieces.
So next game was Buccaneers win a big one for the city of Tampa after their big hurricane situation. They crushed their rival. What was interesting is if you look at the scoreline, the Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter and really looked like they were going to make it a game, and then got shut out in the second half.
Yep.
And it was partly because Rattler, the rookie, started this game because Carr was hurt. And Rattler actually looked pretty good in the first half. Had a couple nice touchdowns, big throws. But Buccaneers just kind of took over. They're the better team. And any thoughts on 51-27 in this game?
I mean, it's crazy. Even though Baker Mayfield did throw 3 interceptions, he still kept playing, and and plus their defense tore up the Saints that second half.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they like, you can look at the scores, they shut them out. Like, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he looked like a rookie in the second half.
Yeah, he did. He looked. Yeah, they exposed him, and they were just doing things that he's obviously, as a rookie, you've never seen these you know, these schemes.
He had a 27.7 QBR. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you expect nothing else from rookies not expecting to play at all this year. Rattler's not on anybody's radar screen.
And they weren't planning to play him this year, but this was a situation. They thought Carr was going to play every game, but he was pressed into duty.
You know, he held it together for the scripted first half, and then the Bucs just whooped him in the second.
That's right, pretty much. What are your thoughts about the Saints? They go 2-0 at the beginning of the year. Everyone's saying they're going to make the playoffs, and then they lose 4 straight in kind of embarrassing fashion.
Well, I think Derek Carr being out is hurting them. He's been playing hurt, and then now he's out. And they definitely have some weaknesses that teams are finding and exploiting. So
their defense is not good.
They were never as good as they looked in the first 2 weeks.
Nope.
Interesting. We talked about Commanders-Ravens, 30-23, just an epic game. Loved every minute of that one.
Great game.
Eagles barely beat the Browns. It was kind of a pathetic performance by the Eagles. They did have one nice throw by Jalen Hurts. But overall, it was really kind of anemic, and it kind of shows, you know, the Browns are terrible, but it kind of shows how the Eagles are just kind of average this year. They're kind of like 8-9, 9-8. Any thoughts on this kind of anemic game by these two fading teams?
I feel it's crazy, man, because the Eagles, to me, should have been like way better than what they are now. I mean, and the Browns got so much talent on that team. It's just like, dude, what's going on? I don't understand, because I even predicted the Browns would go to the playoffs. And obviously, I don't think that's going to happen for them.
And what's funny is, of course, Deshaun Watson's playing so badly, but who carried them to the playoffs last year? It was Joe Flacco, who's come in and he's won 2 games in a row, actually maybe 3 games in a row with the Colts.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Interesting situation for the Browns, who are a sinking ship and continue to give it over to their captain, who's making their sinking ship even worse.
Ugh.
So Chargers, Broncos. This was an interesting game. The Chargers had a 23-0 lead, and the Broncos looked just absolutely horrific the first 3 quarters. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't even get a first down. It looked to me like Bo Nix, who I think is very good, just had no one to throw to the whole game. And was anytime they got first downs, he was scrambling for his life. And then he kind of lit it up a little bit in the fourth quarter and almost came back. So that was pretty impressive to watch.
Hey, didn't Harbaugh get sick or something? Like
he had an irregular heartbeat.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to take him into the tent and check him out.
He's had it before. He had it when he was at Michigan. He's had it before, where he has these bouts every once in a while. He gets
so angry. That's what's wrong. He's too angry.
He gets lightheaded. But thoughts about Bo Nix, and was this an impressive performance? And are the Broncos still maybe a year away? It seems like.
I mean, maybe it's just a bad game. Chargers, they're actually a really good team.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're very really solid. Herbert looked good. And Dobbins was running really well. He got a touchdown, 96 yards. But I think the Broncos definitely struggled in the first half pretty dramatically. And then came back.
Don't they have like Cortland Sutton, and that's about it? I mean, it just really seems they're very devoid of talent. The
they need pieces to help Bo Nix. He's kind of doing it by himself. It's pretty impressive for a rookie. I think he's a real good quarterback.
I kind of feel sorry for him. It's like he doesn't have a lot. I feel
really sorry for him. I mean, the time of possession, 37 minutes for the Chargers, 22 for Denver. 37 to 22. I mean, you can't win when
No.
the other team has the ball that much.
I mean, I look at the situation where the Bears and Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, those two rookies have a lot of weapons to throw to, and Bo Nix doesn't, and I just feel bad for him.
No.
It's like the cupboard is bare for Bo Nix.
Very, very bare. He has a nice offensive line in front of him, but not much else. And there's not much there.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for him. We'll see what he can do the rest of the year. I think they're going to be kind of 500. Of course, it was interesting, Henry. I was telling Rob that 22 out of the 32 teams are either 3-3, 4-2, or 2-4.
Wow.
You talk about parity. Like every team is essentially 500 in the whole league, except for like the Chiefs and one or two teams that are 1-5. So this next game, I can imagine you were very disappointed. 32-13, but you can imagine down at Carolina Steel, these guys were going crazy.
Yes, they were. That's why I'm glad I didn't go.
What were your thoughts, Henry, on this performance by both teams?
What the heck, guys? Like, you score the first touchdown, you look great, and the Steelers just started putting it on you. You fumble the ball. I think they were in the 3-yard line. I think they fumbled the ball there. And the Steelers never looked back. They just kept scoring on them. Raiders had nothing. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Avante Adams wants out, which that's really bad, and he's not even playing. So that's a major thing. And just, I don't know, it makes me kind of think this, and maybe Antonio Pierce might be losing the team. I don't know, but it's just
I mean, you had Crosby shoving the coach on the sideline.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he did that. I was like, man, if I were the coach, I'd suspend him for a game or something. Because
if that was a primetime game, that would have been made a lot more of in the press, I think.
You're pushing the coach around? Like, what is that?
Like, what was he mad about? I mean, you're a player. You got to step up and do your game.
He's just tired of losing. It's just a crappy franchise.
The Steelers did a really nice job of spreading the ball around.
Yeah.
There weren't too many standout players. They were all doing a nice contribution. It was a very, very good team win for the Steelers. And the Raiders had 57 yards rushing total, including quarterbacks and everything else.
And actually, the Steelers' defense played really
good.
well. I mean, TJ Watt was punching balls out. And
Steelers
defense played really well. I mean, when they play like that, they're going to win a lot of games.
Oh,
they were sideline to sideline, hitting everything, moving. It looked like pretty good version of the old Steeler defenses.
It did.
With a crappy version of Raiders.
So
they couldn't run the ball. They were completely one-dimensional.
Lions and Cowboys we mentioned. I'll skip that one. We kind of beat that game up already. Let's talk about the Falcons and Panthers. 38.
I watched that game too.
And my Panthers were sitting at 22-17.5, and I was like, okay, all right, we're playing a division rival. We're playing at home. We got a little shot here. We're running the ball well. Chuba Hubbard's had a fantastic season. And Andy Dalton was looking pretty good. And then the Falcons just kind of took over in the second half. Kirk Cousins, one of the better throwers of the ball in the league. If you give him time, which he had, because the Panthers don't have much of a pass rush. They don't have a Max Crosby. He just kind of picked the Panthers apart in the second half. And it was just, obviously very depressing for us Panther fans.
And a couple of interceptions. Now, did Dalton have a pick six? If I can remember.
Pick six, and then another interception that was on a deflected ball. It wasn't really Dalton's fault, but just kind of. Any thoughts about this game? Is there any kind of hope the Panthers can salvage anything out of the season, or is this just another lost season out of the last 5?
I think it's a lost season.
That's kind of a devastating loss at home in division rival. It just kind of speaks to how your season is going to look the rest of the way, I think.
I think so too. I was really hopeful Dalton could win us some more games, but it just looks to me like he just doesn't have quite enough to.
But they don't have a defense that can stop anybody right now.
Yeah, they don't have a defense.
It's just terrible.
They had 0 sacks.
Even the guys who are supposed to be good, like J.C. Horn, are getting torched every game. It's because
they have no pressure.
Yeah. It's just pitiful. It's just hard for me to watch. It really is, as a fan. Going on to the Bengals Giants, this was a really weird game. The Giants kind of dominated most of the game, to be quite honest.
And they just gave it away.
And they held the Bengals down a lot of the game. The Bengals didn't do very much. Of course, Burrow had that really long 60-yard run, which was really kind of weird. It's kind of an odd play.
It was crazy.
Busted play. I couldn't believe he made it all the way to the end zone. But, Bengals do win, and so they'll take it. But it was just strange. I don't know. Something's wrong with the Bengals, I think.
Yeah.
Their defense played well for once.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals defense actually showed up, which they've been missing in action all year.
They're saying Dable's got on the hot seat. I don't think so. He's a good coach.
No.
Everyone knows he's a good coach. You talk about having a very incomplete team, the Giants.
Jones has been playing decently this year, and he put up a stinker right there.
Yeah.
They were terrible. 22-41. That's not a good completion percentage. 205 yards, 1 INT. He had an 18.2 QBR.
Right.
The only bright spot for Jones was he had 56 yards rushing. In fact, you want to know something weird? The two quarterbacks were the leading rushers for their team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's terrible. I mean, you do not want that.
That's
Time
horrible.
of possession, New York pretty dramatically dominated, 34 minutes versus 25.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
So, yeah.
Good God.
So, and Giants got 24 first downs versus
one of those
13,
odd games, 17-7 with two
for the
teams.
Bengals. So the
These are
Bengals
two
got that one nice run by Burrow, and then another touchdown, and that was kind of it.
These are two teams that
The
you would
Giants-
think would score some points. It's not like it was bad weather. There wasn't snow. There wasn't rain. Both these teams have been scoring points, and it just was one of those odd games. No one can do anything. It was strange. So next one is Bears, Jaguars.
Both defenses did a decent job.
Yeah.
But the Bengals were bend but don't break, They just didn't give up many points.
Next game was Bears, Jaguars. We got Bears at 35 and Jaguars 16. Jaguars are just
they destroyed the Jaguars.
They're just pathetic. And the Bears, Caleb Williams has won 4 straight, playing great. He has weapons all over the place. And the Bears defense is starting to tighten up a little bit. It actually was not playing great coming into the last couple of games, but never really felt close. Felt like they clearly were the better team. And the Jaguars, like I said before, would be really surprised if Peterson survives the season. Any reflection on this game by the rookie?
I'm telling you, I mean, the Bears are just getting better. I mean, maybe the quarterback there just needed to settle down a little bit because he is looking more confident. I mean, and their defense is getting better. Like they're
I will tell you that their 4 wins are against teams that have either 1 or 2 wins total.
Bad teams, yeah.
They've won 4 games against bad teams. I'm really interested to see when they play the Packers and the Vikings.
So,
I feel a lot like
see if they can really win a real game, because I just feel like I'm not taking away the 4 wins they have, but they're against really pretty putrid teams. You're talking the Jaguars.
It reminds me a lot of with all that silly talk about the Bills going to the Super Bowl when they were, 3-0 or something. And I said they haven't played anybody. They've been beating up on bad teams. I think that I tip my hat to Caleb using his weapons. I really like how he was hitting all those receivers, and they looked like a nightmare to try to cover. Okay. But I think over time, when he plays good defenses, they're going to be throwing schemes at him that just melt him down. And
I want to see
that offensive line can stand up to a real good pass rush.
I want to see them play the Packers and the Vikings. And then
yes.
Yeah.
The Vikings.
Oh, dude, I think the Vikings will tear them apart.
Yeah.
Vikings, I'm going to tell you, I've been saying this for a while now. They are no joke.
Yep.
Their defense is really ridiculously good right now.
And then the other team the Bears have to play are the Lions. So they've got a very tough division, and I'll be really interested to see what their end of the year record is after they go through that gauntlet. They got to play those 3 teams twice each. So
I think they're going to get a lot of losses to those teams.
A lot of losses. Yeah, I would agree. I still think the Bears
But Caleb is doing a nice job against bad teams. And that's something.
They're definitely improved under Caleb and those weapons. They're definitely an improved team for sure. No doubt about that.
So the rare double dip for Komet right there. That's Tank Bigsby on the return. Tank Bigsby. Man, this guy's all kinds of exciting. Return of 41 on the line drive kick sets the Jaguars up very nice.
You're a historic running team. That's the challenge for Washington today.
It's combustible is what it is. There's a pass, and look out. Here he goes. It's Zay Flowers down the sideline and all the way to the Washington 20-yard line. Justice Hill in at running back on 2nd and 10. Jackson's pass. Intercepted! There's that first interception. Zane Ristil, the rookie from Michigan, has it. Look at Lamar Jackson swing him down. Well, we had just said not a single pick on the whole year, and boom.
All three of those guys now missing action. A lot of moving parts. That's a challenge.
2nd and 15, another completion, but it was dropped by Chris Olave. It's picked up by Antoine Winfield back the other way. They let this play go all the way through, and Winfield takes it to the house.
Right through the AFC Championship game. Nixon, big hole, galloping free. It's a foot race now with Hawkins. There he goes. Bad ankle and all. Downfield, a huge gain. And a burst by the Texans running back of 67 yards. Pats with 5 in the secondary. Time for Stroud. End zone, bobbled, intercepted on the ricochet. Marcus Jones, he'll bring it out, and he's got speed. Knifing his way upfield. Interception, Stroud on the deflection in the end zone.
Great field position here, and just gonna go cut into this deficit.
So Camarda boots it. 47-yard punt. Shaheed's got room. And there goes Rashid Shaheed. The spark that the Saints needed. It's a touchdown on the punt return.
Keyshawn Nixon now the returner for the Packers. Gilligan's second punt in the last couple of moments. And Nixon trying to bounce this one to the outside. He gets the corner, and Keyshawn Nixon down the sideline, knocked out by Gilligan. Really smart play there to help his teammate turn the corner. It almost looks like you're posting somebody up. Love looking deep on first down. He's got a man out there. Wide open Watson for a Packer touchdown.
Different perspective on things as he navigates his rookie season as an NFL head coach. Goodson has some real estate. Tyler Goodson breaking free. Going to get inside the Tennessee 20.
Second and long. Right back out. It is Ryan Miller. Miller off the practice squad. He was in elevation today in his second NFL game. It would be his first NFL catch, but you have to check that penalty marker on the near side of the field.
From 57, it's blocked. Blocked by Myles Garrett. Wow. And it's taken back all the way by the former Eagle, Rodney McLeod. What a turn of events.
There can be no contact, or it's OPI.
Be a 54-yard field goal from here. Mayfield is going to get yardage and a first down to Sean Tucker. Inside the 15 and all the way to the house. It's a touchdown. The first of Sean Tucker's NFL career.
Patriots 2 timeouts. Hasty the back. 2nd down 2. Drake May. Time and distance going, and he's got him. Boutte touchdown. What a throw. A 40-yard strike. It's a 2nd down and 9. Look out, here they come. Hunter knocked it away and vacuumed in by Edwards. Turnover.
Well, he's slow. He's down right now.
Some of the guys he has now, they can win the Super Bowl.
He's got a 3rd and 2. It's going to be Lamar. Not even touched. There goes Lamar into the secondary. Jackson to the 28 of Washington.
We won the 19.
On 3rd and 4, here comes the blitz. Garnett providing the pressure. Love lofts it up. Oh, what an adjustment! Romeo Dobbs! The 20-yard touchdown!
Godwin in motion. Fake it to Irving. Out to Godwin. In space, and he picks up the first down and pinballs his way inside the 40 and off to the races. Chris Godwin's second touchdown of the day, and Tampa Bay is back out in front.
From the Browns 45. Hurts complete. Wide open. Smith down the sideline. Devontae Smith into the end zone for an Eagles touchdown. 45 yards.
To Tampa Bay inside the New Orleans 45. They'll just be happy with possession. And Bucky Irving with a couple of stiff arms takes it right back inside the 45 and then some. Baker Mayfield putting a shoulder into Lattimore as Bucky Irving goes all the way down inside the 30.
It's 1st and 10. Pierce getting a block outside from Schultz, finding room. There he goes. It's a foot race with Tavai and Gonzalez, who pushes him out before he hits the pylon. No, they give it to him. It's a touchdown. A 54-yard touchdown run. Damian Pierce. From the 48 on 2nd down. Hurts going deep. And the catch is made by Brown.
2nd and 8. Toss. Henry. First down and a whole lot more. Henry breaks it all the way down to the 40-yard line.
3 first-half turnovers for Tampa Bay. But it's been their defense getting it going in the second half and the run game as well. Big gain, Sean Tucker.
Cowboys show blitz. They come with it. It's picked up. Goff loading up. Going deep down the far side of the field. And it is caught! What a catch by Tim Patrick. Get into that in a second. Oh, here's a little trickery. Straight Brown back to Goff. Flea flickers. Got Laporta. Wide open. Sam Laporta. Foot race towards the end zone. Diving. Touchdown.
Unreal. So he's kind of hamstrung sometimes.
Pressure's coming, and Nix escapes. Bud Dupree whiffed on him. Nix keeps the play alive. Now he's going to run. Nix has the first down into Chargers territory. Bo knows. What a play by Nix.
There's just too many things for the Cowboys defense to defend. So if the Cowboys want to make it a game in the second half, it's going to have to be great execution.
Turpin with like this. Oh, Devontae Turpin got the kicker to beat. Can he do it? And all the way down in field goal range already, so that's a good decision.
Quick crossover by you. Pitch it to Najee Harris. Harris sidesteps, gets to the sideline. Najee Harris dives for the pylon. Harris takes it. Touchdown, Steelers. What a highlight.
Time to step up for them.
Ankle injury for Myers last week. Limited practice on Friday. O'Connell, a deep shot. He's got his man. DJ Turner with the grab in Pittsburgh territory.
Yeah, they were so good last year. I love the quick snap here.
Pressure, though, on Goff. Stands in, going deep. He's got Jameson Williams for the touchdown.
Wow.
Nix looking for Sutton in the end zone, and it is, with one hand, was the end. They're going to confer and talk about it. No signal yet. Touchdown!
It's equally as stunning on the inside. 2nd and 8. Field sells the fake. Deep shot. Down for it is Pickens.
First and goal for Pittsburgh.
This team is very certain what's happened. They're passing the ball on every down.
Pressure here. Fourth down. Eye over the middle, and it's intercepted for the second time today. It's Branch again. Brian Branch looking for the end zone. He is tackled inside the 5. Not 47-9. No, I think that was going to be the challenge.
Yeah, that was not the challenge. I think the big deficiency we saw.
Well, they're going to take it out. Why not? Turpin again. See if he can take one to the house. Good return out to the 40 as.
I think he's learning along the way. I think he needs to watch how a true professional.
Oh, intercepted. Clark Phillips will take it inside the 5.
Wisely gets down.
And wanted to run the game, the clock out.
Case, Higgins, and Gesicki all at the bottom of the screen. Joe taken off. Oh, he's got a ton of room. Might take it all the way. Inside the 10. Burrow to the pylon. He's in for the touchdown. Everybody to the left. Burrow takes off to the right. And shows the wheels for 47 yards.
All right, let's look at baseball. So we got the final 4 teams. We got New York and Cleveland Guardians in the American League Championship series. You got the Dodgers and the Mets. You can see there were 2 games. One played last night. The Dodgers whipped up on the Mets in game 1. The Mets just tied the series by winning game 2. So that series in the National League is tied 1-1 right now. The New York Yankees and Cleveland just kicked off their game 1 in the American League side. So this is what we're down to. Any thoughts, Rob, on who you think are going to win these 2 series and then ultimately who's going to be the champ?
Well, it would be kind of interesting to have the 2 New Yorks, but I think the Yankees and the Dodgers are going to meet. But I would not be surprised to see the Guardians with the nice bullpen they got be able to survive the Yankee onslaught. But I do not think the Mets can advance, but I might be wrong about that.
We'll see. They played very well tonight. I think both these series will go 6 or 7. I think they're both going to be really good series. But I do like the Yankees and the Dodgers to meet as well. And I picked this in our preview show a couple weeks ago. I like the Dodgers to get it done. I think Ohtani will get his first ring.
Yeah.
That's just my gut feeling on it right now. They have the most talent of these 4 teams across the board. But would I be surprised or shocked if any of these 4 teams pull this off? No. This tournament the last 5 years has been incredibly unpredictable.
That's right.
And things
the
happen.
Most surprising would be the Mets, I think. But what we've seen the last couple of years, that would be probably par for the course.
But if the Mets get the Dodgers into a 7th game, or the Guardians get the Yankees into a 7th game, anything can happen in the 7th game. It could be a 2-1 pitching battle or something. So, Henry, any thoughts on this? I know you don't follow baseball closely, but any thoughts on this?
From me listening to sports talk radio and stuff, I do believe that the LA Dodgers do have a truckload of talent. I actually see them winning the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do. I mean, you can never count out the Yankees either. I mean, come on. I mean, they're the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem really, this year it seems like they're ridiculously hungry for it. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I still see the Dodgers winning the World Series. And that's like the only time I actually watch baseball is the World Series for some reason. I mean, maybe because there's too many games and I can't follow too much and I don't, it's just a lot of.
I'm with you.
I just don't know about it.
I'm with you. I don't watch till the playoffs. I do watch some of the early playoff series.
Yeah. But obviously, I do believe the Dodgers are going to win. I don't know. I just got a feeling. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion.
I think these are going to be really good series. I'm looking forward to watching them. Yeah.
It is pretty exciting. I actually picked 3 of these 4. I had the Phillies in there instead of the Mets. I think these are clearly the best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Even though the other teams are really, really good. I wanted to see the Orioles get up in there, but I knew that the Yankees would take them out if they had advanced anyway. So I think this is kind of the series that we deserve, as fans and enjoying.
I was talking to
really
Rob's
high
boys.
baseball.
I was talking to Rob's boys about these series earlier, Henry, today, and we were talking about the New York Cleveland series. Cleveland has the best pitching staff in baseball, top to bottom, and the Yankees have the best hitters in baseball. So we're going to really see in this series, does pitching beat hitting or hitting beat pitching? I guess we'll find out. And then in terms of, like we talked about, LA has the most complete team of all. And although
the Mets have something special going.
They're scrappy.
I think they're playing above their talent level where they got that little magic in a bottle thing.
Yep. Yeah, if I'm the LA, I'm not going to take them for granted. They're sitting at 1-1 and they're believing,
Yeah.
They really are. So the cool thing about it this year is we've got the two best players in the Final Four. Shohei Ohtani, who, as we showed in our series a couple weeks ago, or our episode a couple weeks ago, we highlighted Ohtani making the big achievement, which was the 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, first time it's ever been done. And then wanted to highlight this incredible stat here of Aaron Judge in his senior year in high school and show you the three sports that he played. And he was not only good in all three, but he was all state in all three. And in football, he was a wide receiver. He had 54 catches for 969 yards and 17 touchdowns as a wide receiver. In basketball, he had an 18-point average and 12 rebound average. He was an all-state center. And then in baseball, he had a 500 average with 7 home runs and 32 RBI. And he had 65 Ks as a pitcher. He actually pitched for that team as well. Coming out of Linden High School in California. So, I mean, you don't often see an athlete that is this good in three sports.
This right here underscores how much MLB wants it to be Dodgers, Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think he chose baseball? Why do you think he chose baseball? He could have gotten a scholarship in all three sports.
Sometimes it's just you enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
The one that you like the most, you work the hardest at it.
Yeah.
He's clearly, become the biggest basher in baseball. So it was the right choice. But
yeah,
I just find it interesting. He could have gone all three paths. So what an athlete this guy is. Pretty cool.
Great.
All right, we're going to hand it over to Robbie for our favorite segment, Henry, and we call it the mailbag segment with Rob, and we talk about all the different texts and comments that come in. Last week, we got to talk about one of your episodes you did with us, Henry, and we talked about that great episode we did with Lizette, and we did some mailbag comments about that. And so I'm going to hand it over to Robbie.
Well, first of all, I'm impressed that you have once again found the worst possible photo of me.
I'm always trying to find the one where you're talking.
You guys are really appreciate
I look like I just received some bad news. So yeah, thanks. Keep seeing if you can find one worse for next week, Tom.
Hey, by the way, drop us a comment and tell me what you think of the pictures I'm doing about Rob and the mailbag.
Yeah, which picture's worse, this week or last week? I think this week.
His face is like, you did what?
That's right.
He's outdoing himself. Okay, so let's dive into it. Quote, one of my favorite episodes by you guys. Your humor is delightful. So this was from DP Coach. This is regarding our crazy sports episode that we've put together last week. So what are your thoughts on that, Tom?
Well,
one of my favorite episodes by you guys. Your humor is delightful.
He likes our humor, so of course I love that comment.
Likes our humor
is delightful. Love it. Glad you like it.
That was a pretty strange and funny episode in terms of weird sports that you can't even believe are real. But
well, I showed Henry and Brenda at halftime of his wild card show the wife carrying activity, and I told both of them, and I told Brenda that they would be great at wife carrying because she's so light and he's so strong.
Dude, look, okay, I have to correct you on that. Brenda may look like she's light. She literally is a piece of iron, and I'm not even lying to you. Like she weighs maybe 103 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You try to pick her up, I'm not even lying to you. And I lift weights all the time. That woman feels like she weighs about 175. I'm telling you, it's like iron. I'm like, what the heck, girl?
I still have faith in you, man. You could get through the water. You could get through the obstacles. You could do it.
Let me throw you around.
Wife carrying. The wife carrying
I feel
champion.
so bad for the wives. I always feel bad for the wives whose face is ending up in the water. Like, can they breathe?
It's so funny. Oh, I love that, actually. Yeah, but thanks for the comment. We appreciate it. Keep them coming.
Thanks a lot, DP Coach. Next one. It will be interesting when there is a 2-loss SEC team in the playoffs and an undefeated team left out. At Richard Weston. How do you feel about that, Tommy? 2-loss SEC team and an undefeated left out.
That will probably happen. It's clearly setting up where they want as many SEC teams as possible to get in. They're saying as many as 5, maybe 6 out of the 12 are going to be SEC, and you'll have 1 out of all the other conferences maybe. So I think that'll happen, and I think that's okay. I know that what he's saying, and I understand the concern there, but in the end, we want, just like in the college basketball side, we want the 12 best teams in there. We don't want teams to be 11-0, but they haven't played anybody. That's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Robbie?
I think it's less likely than it used to be with 12 teams. Should be able to get all the undefeated teams in, and then they're going to heavy stack it for the SEC. So I think that the idea of leaving people out is kind of lesser than it used to be.
And I don't want to necessarily try to leave people out, but like 2 years ago when Central Florida went 13-0, and you looked at their schedule and they hadn't played anybody, and you realized that they would have had 4 or 5 losses in the SEC, it's just a different level of football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to
beat. And the Horned Frogs got
Mister.
smashed.
Yeah, so
yes, there's some teams that get up there and they end up being in way over their head just because they took care of business at their level. It doesn't translate.
If you have an ACC or a Big 12 or one of those schools get in, you want them to be able to compete with those schools. You want them to be able to play LSU. You want them to be able to play Texas and actually make it a game. Or else what's the point, right? What do you think, Henry, about that? Do you think that it's all about getting the best teams in, or do you think it's about trying to give the guy who has the 12-0 record but hadn't played anybody?
Yeah, I think it's giving the guy the 12-0 record and haven't played anybody. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But in the end, you want the 12 best teams, right? I mean, that's
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that. Yep.
Okay. Such a fun trip at Carva. This was our Vegas episode, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pretty cool that they enjoyed watching our trip. We tried to portray kind of a different Vegas experience than we had previously. And that was a really fun time. What were your thoughts on that?
I completely loved that trip. It was you and me going for your birthday to Vegas. You know, we've talked about Henry, the 3 of us going to see a Raiders game. We got to do something actually a couple things very unique on that trip. One of them was we went and tried to find speakeasies all over Las Vegas, and there's bunches of them. There's something like 30 of them total.
Really?
If you go find them all.
Yeah.
And we found, I think it was 6 or 7 of them.
Bunch of them, yeah.
By researching where we thought they would be. Sometimes you still couldn't really find them, but we found a bunch of them, and we had a really great time. We would go in and have an old-fashioned or sit down and have a beer or something, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I told Tom that I wanted to do something different this time, not the same old strip. So we went to downtown Vegas. We went to Area 15.
Oh, yeah. Is Area 15 cool?
So cool.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's one thing I do want to do. I haven't done that yet in Vegas.
It was cool.
I did zip lining down Fremont Street.
Yeah, he did that, and I got to record him from below. I was literally below as he went.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was cool.
That was amazing.
What a great trip.
Really cool.
We saw Alien Ant Farm and the Ataris.
Yeah,
playing at
they
the
were
free
both
show
really
on
good.
Fremont Street.
Both really good. And then we went to see the Scorpions. Of course, they were incredible.
Oh,
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Amazing.
By the way, they're playing in the spring, the 60th year. They're celebrating their 60th year.
We gotta go.
60th year.
We gotta go.
Oh my
60th
gosh.
We gotta go.
I know.
We'll go for Rob's
Mark.
birthday again, and Henry's coming.
Yeah, I may
Yeah.
have to go to that one if I can swing it.
The Scorpions.
That was such a good show. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, I've seen
So
Scorpions.
I'm glad our
Hey, by the way, they said that there are 8 speakeasies now in Charlotte area.
Really?
So we might want to do that
Cool.
one weekend. Just go try to find them. We won't necessarily have to have a drink at every one, but it'd be cool to just.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have a gig, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be
Just
fun.
go and go check it out. I do like speakeasies.
Find some of the Charlotte speakeasies.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Fantastic discussion with my favorite band. Thanks for recording this. That was at Real Estate Investment. This was Blue Monday.
Yeah.
This was our episode with you and Lizette.
Oh, that's
And,
cool. Thank you. That's
What
really
are your
cool.
thoughts on that? Fantastic discussion with my favorite band.
Oh my
Thanks for
gosh, that means a
recording.
lot. It actually means a whole lot. I mean, that podcast episode is what Thomas got me started doing Henry's Rock Review. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we're definitely going to try to bring Liz, hopefully when she's here in December.
Yeah.
She can take a little bit of time off because I know she's only going to be here for a moment to do a few shows with us and then go back home. You know, she's obviously seeing her kids and spending time with, people she hasn't seen.
And we said we're going to do
You gotta give us a heads up on that so I can sneak over to Charlotte.
And also, we're going to do an update podcast with her, like a second round update podcast with her. So that'll be fun. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
That's good stuff.
And that's it. That's our bag this week. Look at my face.
That's good stuff, man.
I look like I got bad news.
Your face is like, you did what?
Face only a mother could love, I tell you.
Well, Henry, we want to thank you so much for coming tonight, man. Your football insight, your love of the sport just comes through the screen, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. So much fun. I love talking because I don't really get to talk to too many people about sports.
The fact that you don't get to talk about music. Yeah.
Yeah, go Raiders. I'm so sad. I had high hopes.
Come on, O'Connell might turn it on.
Yeah.
Who are we going to root for this year now? Like all of us are bad. What are we going to do?
I'm gonna tell you the 3 teams that I'm rooting for.
Commanders.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for them. I'm rooting for the Ravens because obviously I like Derrick Henry and I like Jackson. I'm also rooting for Detroit because I really think they should have gone to the Super Bowl last year. They just gave it away, and their team is really good. And I do like Jared Goff, man. I think he got a bad end of the stick with the Rams, but he's playing out of his mind.
Yeah. And
I love their coach. I love the coach. I really do. And then, who else I'm rooting for is the Vikings.
Yeah. They're fun to root for. I agree.
Sam Darnold come from the Panthers. Everybody said he was washed up. He's done. And this guy in this system is playing out of his mind.
He is.
And by the way, their defense looks the best it's ever been.
Agreed. So I'm going to root for the Commanders because we grew up Redskin fans, and they're just playing great. And Jaden Daniels to me is just so electric.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
So electric, so fun to root for. I'm going to go for them. And then I think my second team's going to be the Lions. I just feel like they're long suffering. They haven't had a championship in 60 years.
Yeah.
And so I can get on board with the Lions. I like the way they've built their team. I like the coach. I like the players. They're all kind of unassuming players. I think Goff was kind of like let go by the Rams, and I don't know. I like their story. So those are my 2 teams, I guess, now that our 3 are really bad.
That just sounds so horrible.
I know. And I hope the Lions are able to get Max Crosby, and I hope the Raiders will take those picks and turn them into bona fide Hall of Famers. So.
And maybe Washington can get Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, maybe. Good point. Well, guys, definitely like this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you catch Henry's Rock Review. He's got a big surprise coming up next week, so definitely watch that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time on the Sports Guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for watching, guys.